Hi guys, happy Thrift Score Thursday. I'm really excited to chat jackets today, which are one of my very favorite things in the world to thrift. I love thrifting jackets because I think it's kind of I don't want to say undiscovered. People know that there are jackets at the thrift store, but I feel like a lot of people don't go near, particularly the women's jackets, because they see a lot of skirt suits and pantsuits, and that scares them away. I am here to tell you that is an untapped resource. In the 1980s and 90s, a lot of designers made pantsuits for women because this was like when women were entering the workforce in larger numbers. They were wearing like this strong shouldered look. But here's the thing, we don't really dress like that anymore. We don't really wear a skirt suit, like a midi length skirt suit, which is a lot of what you see at the thrift store, a lot of what was done in the 80s and 90s. What we do is we wear jackets with jeans. And so I will often go into the suit area, the female suit area, and obviously I'll buy the full skirt set, but I usually only wear the jacket. So some of the pieces I'm going to show you today, I have the full set, but I only wear the jacket because designers are doing shoulder pads again, and they have been for a few years. And in the 80s and 90s, they were making these really incredible structured things. And I always say this, but like everything in design, fashion, interiors, it is all cyclical. So many of the trends you see today, you can find at the thrift store, which sounds very counterintuitive, I know. But to get started, I'm going to talk about the jacket I'm wearing now, which is one of my faves. Obviously, not a skirt suit. This is just a silk jacket. And the crazy thing about this is it looks almost exactly like one that the Frankie shop, which is a contemporary label, did maybe last year or 2 years ago. Like literally, it looks almost exactly like it. It's quilted. I don't know if you can see. I love the black piping. It's kind of a cream color. And it is silk. I got this at a Goodwill. Another thing I love about jackets is that you really don't have to alter them. You can easily alter a jacket just with like little styling hacks. So push up the sleeves. One thing you can do if the sleeves don't quite push up, like these fall, put a hair tie, like an elastic hair tie here, scrunch it up, and then cover the hair tie, and no one will be the wiser. Another thing you can do with like a blazer or a bigger jacket is you can belt it. Sometimes a big long jacket you can actually wear as a dress, and that's something else I do. Anyway, I will tell you guys who made this one. Jean Ewing, Ewing. I'm sure this is like backwards, right? Because of the forward facing camera. But anyway, this is 100% silk shell, 100% silk lining, made in Hong Kong. So that's another thing. Vintage stuff tends to be, if it's well made vintage stuff, so much better made than the stuff we're buying now. Like, I'm guessing, not sure, but the Frankie shop version of this probably was like a silk poly blend. Um, I know this is giving, see, this is the thing. This is giving you guys the urge to thrift. This is something I write about a lot. And I just did a Substack last week, I think, about how I get inspiration before I go thrifting. And half of it is inspiration, and half of it is just like looking at Pinterest and Instagram and seeing how people have styled things in their homes or on their bodies. That just makes me want to go thrifting. Like sometimes I go to an antique gallery, not to buy things, but just because I know that I'm going to see stuff and be like, oh, I want to go find that at the thrift store for like, 90% less. Okay, now let's get into some more jackets. And this is my probably all-time favorite designer to thrift, Emanuel Ungaro. Ungaro did, I think they tried to do a resurgence. They might still be around. I'm not sure. But they were killing it in the 80s and 90s. And they have several different diffusion lines. And this is something you'll learn as you go thrifting. And I promise I will do a Substack about this eventually. But I mentioned this in the video last week. There are designers. Let's take Ralph Lauren. They have different lines under their name. So there's like Ralph Lauren Purple Label, there's Double RL, there's Ralph Lauren Black Label. And some of these labels are better than others. And some are worse in that the designer just sold their name, but they don't actually have anything to do with the actual item itself. And Ungaro is one of those lines. Now, this is an actual Ungaro piece. You can see it says Ungaro and then underneath Ter, Ter. someone smarter than me, I don't know what that means. But this was like one of their more high end labels. Another way you can tell if it's high end is just look at the sizing. This is a size 40, so this is like French or Italian sizing. If it's American sizing, chances are it is like one of their diffusion lines that was just, they sold their name basically. Anyway, this is really good because this is, I believe, wool. Another way to tell if something's nice, just check and see the, 100% pure wool. Check and see the materials because wool is a nice material and the inside is lined, so it's not itchy. This is one of my faves. I got this also at Goodwill. It does have shoulder pads, and sometimes I take out the shoulder pads. In this, I would not do that because I love the shape. This is just a little bomber, and it fits me so perfectly, and I just really love it. I'm a big checkerboard freak. If you have my book, Big Thrift Energy, the spine is black and white checkerboard. And this is like kind of more of a Harlequin, I guess, look rather than straight checkerboard. But I mean, this is so great. You see, the Ungaro is a designer who knew how to dress a woman's body, by which I mean strong shoulders, which make your waist look tinier. And then there's always something that carves out the waist, which a lot of designers don't do these days. So much of what we see now is like shapeless. And that doesn't mean I don't like it. I love the row. A lot of that stuff is shapeless. It's designed for people who are very, very, very thin, don't really have curves. Whereas some of us, if you have curves, if you put on like something really boxy, like a $10,000 dress by the row, it's going to make you look like a box, like a, beige box. I prefer things that, fit my body and look good on my body. And Ungaro is one of those designers. I also think Ungaro is such a great designer to thrift because it's not like a, I don't know, Valentino or Prada that like everyone knows about it because it did kind of go away in the 80s and 90s and people like stopped buying it so much, but it's exceptionally well made. The quality of materials are fabulous. And so much of what the labels were doing in the 80s and 90s looks very current. I'm going to show you another one now that is also Ungaro and it's probably my favorite. And this one was a skirt set. It came with a matching skirt. And I've worn the skirt once, but when I wear the skirt with the jacket, it looks like I'm cosplaying like the Queen of Hearts. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Like, they just know how to make a jacket for a woman's body. Like, it's carved in, it has small shoulder pads, the sleeves hit at a really nice place. And here's the thing, I know there's rules about sleeves, like they've got to be to your wrist. They don't have to be. It's okay if they're a little shorter. This way you can show off like a beautiful bracelet or something. I adore this jacket. I typically will wear this with big cargo pants rather than flares like I'm wearing now. I just like the juxtaposition of like a super hyper feminine jacket with something more masculine and utilitarian on the bottom. But again, Ungaro, absolutely amazing. Do you see how it's a slight, almost peplum? Just absolutely stunning. I don't know. I just feel like these are the types of clothes that are just, so well made that you could really never afford them probably unless you got them at the thrift store. I'll show you the tag of this one. You can see made in Italy. And this one is Emanuel Ungaro Parallel Paris. And this was another of the like real Ungaro. So this was like actually designed by the fashion house, fabric made in Italy, designed in Paris. Just really, really, really incredible. But I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I should have looked this up before I did the live, but there are some Ungaro labels that are not as well made, and they clearly had just like sold the name. Okay, another one that I got, not at a Goodwill, but at a thrift store. This is a really fun one. This is Valentino, but it's a brand that they had called Miss V. So look for this label when you're at the thrift store. I got this for like $10. Another one, I usually wear this as a top actually with nothing underneath it because it cinches all the way. So like you can't really see anything. I love this one mostly because of the insane detailing on the pockets. And also look at those beautiful buttons. It looks like they have kind of mother of pearl in them, which is really cool. And again, very well made. really, really subtle shoulder pads. I think shoulder pads got such a bad rap in the 80s, but they actually do make you look very good if they're well done. It is slightly cinched in. See, even unbuttoned, it's like, so it really shows off your waist, your hips. It just makes you look like a woman, which is, I think, what so many of us want. I mean, look even how the back is. It makes it look like you have a butt, which is so great. Designers just, they really got it. Like I said, this one was like $10, but I have a friend who was just at a Goodwill the other day and she posted a photo and she found a top by this brand. So it's definitely out there, but this is a diffusion line that they don't make anymore. Not sure what happened to it, but okay. Next thing is, I only have two more, but if you have questions about jackets, let me know. I don't know that I'd call this a jacket. It's an insane shearling vest. Marvin Richards is the brand. Such a cool tag. I have seen these on Poshmark before for like $200. I think I paid 15 or 20. I got this at a yard sale, so I paid cash. I mean, how great is that tag with the little woman? It's so 90s. Let me see if okay. Yeah, this is actually Mongolian fur. So this is the real deal, and it's dyed purple, and it's long, and it's just so Sienna Miller in early 2000s, and would be amazing with like a long sleeve silk dress underneath and some boots. You could also belt this, which would be quite fun. This is one of my favorite pieces. I almost sold this last year and then I didn't. And I'm so glad I didn't. I did like a partnership with Poshmark where I went live and I sold things from my closet, and I just want to get rid of things. So I was selling things for like $2 and $5. And at one point I like almost sold this and nobody bought it. And thank God, because what was I thinking? This is such a great piece. Just really fun. But this was a good one to look up on Poshmark or Etsy. Marvin Richards. The tag alone is super fun. Okay, last thing. And this is my very favorite thing. I wrote about it in my book. I've done like little reels and things about it. This was a really excellent Goodwill find. This is a cape. Now, this does not have a tag in it. And it was hanging on the $10 coat rack. And I saw like the end peeking out, and that's what first drew me to it, right? Because I could tell that it was like a really interesting material and well made. But then I noticed the shape and like, why would there be this sort of wool cape? That just made no sense to me. And then I opened it up and I'm like, oh my God, the inside is all silk. And then I looked closer, and I don't even know if you guys can see, but that's when I noticed the CDs everywhere, and that is the Christian Dior logo. So yes, this is a vintage Christian Dior cape that I got for $9.99 at a Goodwill in Jacksonville, Florida. It has holes for the arms and a little tie here. This is like little brown riding hood or something. Such a good find, such an incredible find. And with like boots, this is just amazing. But that's another really great tip. I mean, scan the racks for materials first and foremost. If you pull something out, look at the shape. Is it an interesting shape? That can tell you if it's well made, right? Because like some of those Ungaro jackets I was showing you guys, I mean, they have pleats. They are cinched in the waist. They have shoulder pads. Like that took a lot of work and a lot of cost to make that, right? You don't see that when you go shopping at like a Forever 21. They don't have jackets that fit your body like that and are made out of silk and satin and Mongolian fur or whatever. So looking at the shape, also looking at the details like the seams and little interesting details like this. You know, a cape could just be a cape, but this one actually has holes for your arms. That's a really, really great detail. A cape could just be a cape, but this one is lined in satin. That's an interesting detail. And the fact that the lining is marked with the label all over it because it says CD everywhere. That's another really great thing to look for. So yeah, these are some of my vintage jackets. I have a bunch more. I never want to inundate you guys a ton on these days, but I thank you so much for joining me. And always, if you have questions, you know, please let me know. I did just drop a huge Substack newsletter about how to shop a thrift store, which is basically a condensed version of my book, Big Thrift Energy. Like I said last week, I will have more details on maybe some upcoming projects that I'm working on that can also help you with shopping or styling or thrifting. Um, Super excited about that. And I also want to do more lives. I go live every single Thursday here on Substack. It's like one of the joys of my life because it's just a quick little interlude to my day and I can connect with you guys. And most of all, I really like answering questions. I do these home shows and I'm about to do 3 back to back starting next week. I'll be in Salt Lake City, then I'll be in Cleveland, and then I'll be in Tucson, Arizona. So if you are in any of those places, please come see me at the home show, or at the very least, shoot me an email or a DM and tell me where to eat and where to thrift and where to shop and what to do in those places. I'm really excited because I'll be in Salt Lake City this coming Thursday. It's my first time there. Anyway, but when I do the home shows, one of my favorite parts and one of the parts that's like ends up taking the most time is the Q&As at the end because people have so many questions because I don't always think of everything. So I love getting questions from you guys. And that helps me in my work too, because if you have questions about something, I'll try to research the heck out of it and do like a really helpful guide on Substack. So yeah, more lives to come. And certainly every Thursday I go live. In the coming weeks, I might be going live from like a Hampton Inn or something like that in Cleveland. But but I promise I'll go live. Okay, guys, thanks so much.